Good afternoon. This is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates and Crystal Clear Weather. I'm going to take a quick look at our potential rain for the end of this week and then the potential for snow early next week. As always, I want to thank those of you who donate to this page and subscribe to this page monthly and help support it. And I want to thank all of our sponsors as well, our business sponsors who help fund this page and help keep it going, help me pay for the data and pay for the time that I put in. So thank you all and for supporting this page. So we're going to take a look at the regional view, and I'm going to look at three different models. I'm going to show a more extreme view of the rainfall over the weekend and a less extreme view, and then kind of the middle ground that I think is probably a little more correct. So here we're looking at the GFS model, the 12Z, and this is beginning Friday afternoon. And of course the rainfall for Thursday into Friday has pretty much dissipated in all of the data. It would just be pretty scattered in nature, nothing that's remotely a washout. We look at the GFS model, and there's this low pressure that it has scooting off to our northwest, kind of a secondary low pressure that the GFS this is around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, and it brings if I could hit the right button, brings a decent little line of rain around. This is around 4 a.m., and then by the time we're hitting 7 a.m., it has the precipitation out of here. So that's the GFS view on things. Let's take a look at the NAM. So here's a look at the NAM, or the North American model. It's a higher resolution model. This is beginning Friday morning. And as we go through the day on Friday, there's really not much going on. Again, just some patchy stuff. But here we are getting into late Friday, early Saturday, and you can see it's got a little bit of precipitation along a boundary up here, kind of the cold air boundary, and a little more precipitation down to the south. But the NAM really doesn't bring much of anything, just some very widely scattered showers through that would be out of here by Saturday morning. And then the bulk of the precipitation would stay well to our south. That's kind of the way the NAM shows it. So it really would give us next to no rainfall at all through Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So we'll take a look at the European. It's kind of in between, and I think it's a little more realistic on what might happen. So here's a look at the European model. This is beginning in the wee hours of Friday morning, Thursday night into Friday morning. And you can see it's got some very just widely scattered overnight showers. This is getting around 4 o'clock Friday morning. And then just some patchy stuff hanging around on Friday. Then it gets it out of here. So just a little bit of widely scattered precipitation, but nothing that's real major. And of course, again, I've been telling you for days, I thought the data would back off as that got closer, because the main low pressure system is just so far to the north that the odds of it picking up as much precipitation as what was modeled just didn't seem to be very great. And then this is Friday evening, and then here's the European dealing with the secondary low pressure and the secondary wave. That's around 4 o'clock Saturday morning, 7 o'clock Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and then by Saturday afternoon, it's getting it out here again with a stronger wave of precipitation down here to the south. So that's kind of what I think is a little more likely, just widely scattered showers anywhere from Thursday evening through Saturday morning. But again, nothing that's a washout, just it might get rainy here and there, short periods of time, but most of the time should be dry. So now let's look at the system that might be in play early next week. Again, we've kind of been watching the data's been all over the place, but it's kind of starting to squeeze itself in a little bit more. So here's a look at the GFS. This is 7 o'clock Monday morning. And we can see it's low pressure that's down here, 1,007 millibar low pressure, kind of tracking kind of on line, I can't talk, right in line with the Ohio River. You can see a decent shield of snow developing back here, and rain to the south, a very sharp cutoff. And as we get through, this is by Monday afternoon, a little bit of scattered showers. By Monday evening, by late Monday afternoon into Monday evening, right along kind of the I-70 corridor. Madison County is kind of right where that little crosshair is. So just to our south, kind of along I-70 and north, the GFS has a decent hit of snow occurring Monday evening into the very early hours of Tuesday. It gets the snow out of here by early Tuesday. So that's the GFS look at it, and we'll take a look at its total snowfall output here in just a second. So here's the GFS's idea on snowfall. And so you can see it's got heavier snow back out here over Nebraska, Missouri, and then it starts to kind of taper it down as it comes across Illinois, gets kind of weak across Indiana, then redevelops as it gets to the northeast, and that's part of a transfer of energy. So that's always at play in these wintertime snowfalls, especially these last few years. So, and of course, Indiana always seems to be in the spot where that transfer occurs. So this is the GFS's idea of how that might play out. Let's take a look at a couple other models real quick. So here's a look at the 12Z Canadian, and it's kind of a little more amped up than what the GFS is. And as we look, it's a very similar low, but it's coming a little harder to the northeast, whereas the GFS kind of comes across this way. The Canadian is driving a little harder to the northeast. I think with the pressure of this low, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for the real steep climb. However, we have seen it a couple of times where these storms have intensified and then made the strong north turn. At any rate, the Canadian then brings that low pressure right up across southeastern Indiana. Here's Madison County. It's got us in rainfall. It's got heavy snow up around Lafayette and to the north of Kokomo, kind of up around Plymouth and some of the north central Indiana areas, and then on up toward Fort Wayne. But it has us predominantly in rainfall until we get to the backside Monday evening, and then it brings in a little bit of snow. So that's what its outlook is, and here's a look at the Canadian snowfall output. We can see that the Canadian, it keeps things in more intact. It doesn't do the energy transfer. It keeps a strong swath. Actually, it's got a little bit of a transfer back here, I guess. But you can see it's got this strong swath just to our northwest. It gives Madison County maybe a dusting to maybe 2 inches in northern Madison County, but it paints a swath of 5 to maybe 8 inches of snow, basically from Kokomo and areas northwest. So that's what the Canadian has. Let's take a look at the European. So here's a look at the European. Got a 1,003 millibar low down here, so a little bit deeper of a low. You can see the swath of snow out here to the northwest. This is in the wee hours of Monday, and as we progress through the day and we get into about, let's see what time this is because I've kind of got this cropped off. This is late Monday morning. It starts to bring a swath of snow, but it's not real strong. The low is intensifying though, but the Canadian or the European does kind of share the GFS idea of this more eastern energy transfer. So as the snow moves across, it actually paints the heavier snow basically from I-70 and south, and but it's by heavier snow. It's not heavy, as we'll see here in a second, but it basically gets us through here then by Monday evening. So it's much faster. It's a little bit stronger, a little farther south, and it's a little bit faster than the other two. But so we'll take a look at its output. So the European is kind of similar to the GFS in output amounts, maybe a couple of inches, maybe 3 inches at the high, but it's farther south. So the GFS cuts right across basically I-70 and north. The European is mostly I-70 and south, basically like if you take I-69 even, but and go southeast. So not as much up around Kokomo or Lafayette. But you can see, again, heavier snow back here across Missouri, tapering down as it crosses Illinois and Indiana, Ohio, and then you can see the heavier snow up in that far northeastern as the part of the map as it gets into Pennsylvania and New York. The European then wants to crank up some heavier snow up there. So it's still several days out. We can't take any of this for gospel. I just wanted to show you the different ideas, but they are generally, it's just a matter of what part of Indiana the snow is going to come across and how heavy it's going to be. A model I have not looked at yet is the German icon, so let's take a look at that real quick and see what we got. And so the icon is actually even farther northwest than what the Canadian is. So there are all your kind of range on the models at this point. Again, this is several days out. This will be Monday into Tuesday. So you've got the icon up here much farther northwest, northwestern Indiana. You've got the GFS, I-70 and north. You got the Canadian, basically Kokomo and Lafayette and northwest. And then you got the European, is basically I-70 and south. So there's a lot of different things at play here. The energy transfer is a question. The amount of cold air in play is in question. It has been a problem the last few winters. But this one has a setup where it could end up being a sneaky bigger snow. So we'll just wait and see how this looks as we get farther into the weekend. I'll update you again tomorrow on this. I want to take one last look at one last thing here, and then I'm going to get off of this video. Last thing we're going to look at are the temperatures coming up the next couple of days. So this is a look at Friday, and this is the Europeans' look at Friday about 4 o'clock, and you see temperatures largely in the lower 60s, basically from Lafayette and Kokomo and south. Down around Evansville, they could be in the mid 60s. So that's what we're looking at is for high temperatures on Friday. Again, right around 60. So upper 50s, lower 60s, basically. Let's back up a little bit, and we'll take a look into Thursday. The European has us in the mid 50s. I think upper 50s may be possible on Thursday, even if we get a little bit of sunshine into the mix. So I just wanted to cover those temperatures for those 2 days because it's going to be very spring-like for a couple of days. But by next week, we're going to be looking at a little more reality in our temperatures. And not to be taken verbatim, but here's a look at the 6Z GFS. And we can just kind of see, again, don't take the temperatures verbatim, but because this is going to be kind of smoothed out because this is kind of the average of 31 different model runs within the GFS. So that kind of smooths things out. But what you can see is the spike here, from Thursday through Saturday. Then you can see the drop off, dropping off around Monday and Tuesday. This has got 38 on Monday, 37 on Tuesday. Those temperatures, I think, may be a little bit warm at lows in the mid 20s. So the timing of snow will be big on how much it can accumulate. A little bit of a bump up mid to late next week, and then another front by next weekend. Again, how deep this second front down at the end of next week is remains to be seen because it's possible that we could be seeing some highs that might struggle to top 30 degrees for a few days. So that's still a long way out, but I just wanted to show you the kind of peaks and valleys where we're sitting right here, very like March feel, and then we're going to fall back towards some reality. So this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates, and I will give you another update tomorrow and see how things look. In the meantime, thank you for your support. Thank you for trusting this page, and I will talk to you later.